ladies and gentlemen. First of all, I would like to welcome all of you. Since its inception, the Jammu Kashmir International People's Alliance is determined to advance a pro-people and pro-human rights agenda of the divided, distressed and occupied people of the erstwhile state of Jammu and Kashmir. Ladies and gentlemen, we are living in a world where science and technology is progressing by leaps and bounds every day. New technologies have made human life easy. In the same world, there are many places where people are striving for their fundamental rights, including right to life. And the state of Jammu and Kashmir is one of them where people have been demanding their rights. But unfortunately, their neighbors did not respect their aspirations. This is one of the most tragic aspects of our history. The state of Jammu Kashmir is as beautiful as Switzerland, but its beautiful valleys, forests, lofty mountains, beautiful rivers and streams have become such a symbol of attraction that has inflicted irreparable loss to its integrity and sovereignty. Jammu Kashmir International People Alliance believe that the government of Pakistan, India and China have their own national and strategic interests, but simultaneously they should not marginalize people in their respective administrations. I have mentioned China because of two reasons. One is that it has also taken the control of one very important part of the Kashmir Valley. And secondly, she is building China-Pakistan economic corridor through the disputed region of Gilgit-Baltistan. That region is as disputed as other part of the erstwhile state of Jammu Kashmir. We have reiterated on many occasions in the past and during our meetings and briefings with the EU officials and with many world leaders, human rights defenders and NGOs that we want development, basic health facilities, skill-based education and freedom of expression, association and belief for every citizen of our state. We believe that the resources of the entire state belongs to its people. It is law of nature as well as international law. But as compared to weak state, our natural resources have been plundered continuously. We have been demanding since long that the people of the former princely state, irrespective of their caste, color, creed, are center and major stakeholders in the dialogue process. We have also been demanding world community that the life, liberty and property of the people of this unfortunate region must be protected. We have also stood against non-state actors and have exposed their nefarious design in the region and beyond. At present, the government of Pakistan is using a major part of its resources to lobby only about the people of Kashmir Valley, but they did not care about the development and fundamental rights of the people under their own administrations. The people of Pakistani administered Kashmir can't even seek a job without taking oath by loyalty to Pakistan. No one can take part in election without declaring that he or she is faithful to the Kashmir accession with Pakistan. Since Pakistan Protection Ordinance and National Action Plan was launched in Pakistan, books of Kashmir history have been confiscated and booksellers were threatened not to sell any such book at their store in so-called Azad Kashmir. The political leaders in Gilgit-Baltistan are facing so-called sedition charges, which in overview are in principle contradiction with the UNSIP resolution on Jammu and Kashmir. I hope our participants would comprehensively educate on the matter under respective subject. I also hope that the European officials would do their best to help us and our people to enjoy fundamental human rights, social and economic rights as enshrined in the Universal Declaration of the Human Rights and International Convention on Civil and Political Rights. Ladies and gentlemen, today our topic our conference title is Terrorism and Extremism in the Global and Regional Context. Gilgit-Baltistan post-EU resolutions. That resolution actually passed in 2007 by European Parliament. How extremism deterred freedom struggle of the people of Jammu and Kashmir. Democratic dispensation in Pakistan peripheries. These are the topics which we would like to discuss, and I have a very learned panel. I have some international people who have not actually from the Kashmir, but they have their expertise on human rights, on different conflict zone work. So we just actually invite them, although they are not specialists on Kashmir, but we invite them because they are human rights and they are working so many years for the protection of the human rights, for the liberty of the peoples. So my left, Dr. Malola, he is the president of one NGO, CIRAC. CIRAC has a consultative status working with United Nations Human Rights Council with ECOSOC, have a ECOSOC status. And he's a very renowned, and I'm very much thankful to him because he always facilitated us. We are marginalized. No government is behind us. We have no space to highlight our miseries, but it is his NGO who supported us, who give us space in United Nations so that we have participate and highlighted our miseries. And regarding human rights, we are always interactive dialogue with many NGOs and civil society and many governments. So I thank him that he is here with us in a solidarity. My left, the second person is Dr. Maurice Gatala. He is also a very renowned human rights defender, and in UN mechanism he is very famous and very pro-knowledge person, and always helping for the oppressed peoples who come across the board. If they have no any opportunity to enter in UN building, Mr. Gatala, Maurice Gatala is ready to facilitate them. So he is a very kind human being and also very sympathetic with the Kashmir cause and Kashmiri people. The third one is Mr. Dr. Layman Danenko. He is president of one again NGO which has the consultative status with United Nations, and he is also facilitating us in UN mechanism and many different forums. So I also like to thank him. They are all come to here just to solidarity with the Kashmiri people, to enhance their right movement and struggle. My right side, Mr. Ali Adalat, he is a British national, Kashmiri origin, and councillor of the Rochdale Council. He's a very progressive person and writers. He wrote many books. He also made film on Kashmir deviants, which is known as the Lakir. keep actually the line of control and the people who are suffering. So he is very popular among the Kashmiris, both sides of the Kashmir, and Indian administration and the Pakistani administration Kashmir, because he always try to raise the voices of the voiceless people, because under Pakistani administration people have no voice. On the other side of Kashmir, because the NGOs, the civil society, the media, because Indian side of Kashmir are under Indian administration, the people have indigenous media, electronic media, print media, and civil society is very strong. Even the credible human rights activist is working there. So most of the countries and world communities appeared that situation of that part which is under India. But the other part, like in Gilgit Baltistan and Pakistani administrative Kashmir, people have not much knowledge what is the immediate problems, what people are facing. I think there is only one document which was compiled by the European Parliament and the rapporteur Amma Nicholson. She compiled a report regarding our immediate problems and prospect. So that is the only report, and many people know in European Parliament it was almost 1.5 years was under debate that report, and after that through debate and discussions, ultimately the majority of the European parliamentarians passed that resolutions. And that resolution actually, I think the two pictures of all part of Kashmir, but people of Gilgit Baltistan facing, but POK, how we ruled by the land officer, what is and our land, like POK is used for the activity and for the terrorist and extremist groups which actually threaten secular democratic Kashmiris. So this kind of things we think that today is under debate, and 1 hour we first session is 1 hour after we have a break. So I would like to ask Ali Adalat, floor is yours, sir.
Thank you.
And
Thank you.
one person, sorry, I forgot to introduce. He is a Francesco Janet. He is from Spain, and he is also a human rights defender and sympathizer of the Kashmiri. So we also invite him for the solidarity. And I also, on behalf of my organizations, the Belgian Foreign Office and all those people who come from different institutions, I welcome and also thankful to them for their presence is more encouraging for us. I thank you again. So now floor is yours.
Thank you. Can you hear me? Yeah? Yeah. Okay, you can hear me now. Thank you very much. How long have I got? How long have I got?
You can read your paper.
Yeah, okay. Thank you. Thank you very much. And I really thank Shaukat Kashmiri and his organization for giving me an opportunity to come here and share some of my views with you. In his introduction, he did say that I write which is true, and you will be amazed to find out that the language, and there are many languages spoken in Kashmir, state of Jammu and Kashmir, on both sides, and one of them is Pahari. And Pahari language in Pakistan is very much under threat. And then I think the country was created in the name of Urdu or something. I don't know what the reason is. And then recently the Pakistanis banned a lot of books, including mine and one of my friends, Shams's. And then some other books. The whole narrative is and history and heritage and culture and languages, and then religion to a certain extent, because we're very humble, Sufi, Sunni, accommodating Muslims in Kashmir, and now we are inundated with these madrasas and I call them suicide cadet colleges in so-called Azad Kashmir or POK. And then my books were locally published by Cultural Academy in Srinagar, and then this is how I sort of come and visit. But today I will talk about primarily I will talk about Gilgit and Baltistan in the context of demographic changes or engineered demographic changes. But it is very difficult to isolate Gilgit-Baltistan from the rest of the state. And then I will try to inform you how we came to the stage that we find ourselves in. Very unfortunate. But before that, I was really pleased to meet first time Nawab Saab sitting here, very old journalist. I think he knows about 11 languages. And I listened to him very keenly, and one of his questions was that in the Western media, why don't Kashmiris get coverage? And I often question myself, and the reason why, I think one of the reasons why, and it's probably our fault, we don't get coverage is there are close to 1 million Kashmiris in UK only, and probably 1.5 million throughout Europe, but nobody sees us as Kashmiris. They all see us as Pakistani Muslims, and that is another engineered identity evasion. Now, if Pakistanis are having a press conference or having a demonstration against like India or against situation in Gilgit-Baltistan, nobody is interested in Pakistan, and they really dismiss it at the outset that India and Pakistan don't like each other, and Pakistan has got this habit of breaking hell in Brussels and people like Sajjad Karim. So really, it's the identity crisis which really does not make the headlines. And then I feel that the European governments, including Brussels, EU, has, while they've pushed for, and then I'm talking about as a British politician now, while they've pushed for travelers' identity, they've pushed for human rights, but they've absolutely ignored Kashmiri identity. Nobody knows there are Kashmiris living in Western Hemisphere. Our language is different. We are bigoted by Pakistanis. We are really, Pakistanis are very hostile towards us. I have been sacked personally about 3 times by Pakistanis. You know, like you work in Pakistani factories, as soon as they find out you're Kashmiri, you get sacked. But you can't take them to court because they are Muslim, I'm a Muslim. In the eyes of law, they are Pakistanis, I'm a Pakistani, so how can a white man or a white person discriminate against another white person? And that system is really letting us down. And then we did look towards Europe. I don't know, it's Brexit now, I do apologize, I voted for him, but this is where we are. And that brings me up to my paper. Historically, many languages, and there are languages going out every minute. Cultures and ethnicities have been erased from the face of the earth. For example, Maoris in New Zealand, that was their country. We managed to erase them. Aborigines in Australia, Native Americans, and then there are many more examples. And I think Kashmiris really are under threat as an ethnicity, as a nation, and then I think Europe has brought coloniality on its doorsteps by absolutely excluding us from all its monitoring systems and denying our language and ethnicity. In the case of Jammu and Kashmir, I won't bore you, but everybody knows that 1947, India was free and Pakistan was created. Why? God knows why. But I don't know, I wasn't around and I've never found out why, what needs were there for Pakistan. It hasn't done anybody any good ever. And then late Maulana Azad used to say, India is a country, Pakistan is an experiment, and that experiment has gone wrong. And then this is how we find ourselves in terrorism and engulfed with terrorism and a lot of other ills. Yeah. 47, because the subcontinent were divided and that impacted on Kashmir, although our legitimate ruler acceded to India, Pakistanis for some reason decided to attack through Muzaffarabad and tribals, and that brought India into Kashmir, and essentially India came to save us from the savagery of the tribals, and that was the reason why they went in. At that time, quite a bit of demographic changes took place, in a sense that the regions under Pakistani occupation, they did a good job. They killed or are forced to migrate all the Muslims. You can't find a Hindu in POK, and then it used to be a really 50-50 mixed society. Gilgit-Baltistan, you can't find any non-Muslims. And then similarly, from the Jammu region, RSS and other Hindu fundamentalists, they were tit for tat. They killed a lot of people, and then they forced hundreds of thousands of people to migrate into Pakistan, and it was a massive upheaval in the shape of Pakistan being created. Pakistan and India went to war. The case went to UN, and there was a referendum promised, and there are various reasons. And I certainly believe that Pakistan was very insincere in those trying to help UN and implement, and then various things happened. But Kashmir did have and still has and continues to enjoy special status within Indian Constitution, Act 370. And obviously, because the case is in UN, Pakistan can't really annex the country, Kashmir, although they've tried many times, and I think there were representations made to European Union by then ambassador, if I'm right, that Gilgit-Baltistan is not part of the dispute, it is Pakistan, but nobody believed them, and I'm glad they didn't. I'm absolutely glad they didn't. But what happened to us was, at the time of 370, the Indian-controlled Kashmir used to have Prime Minister and President. POK, they've got, and they used to have President. There was no democracy then. There was there was a committee that chose, well, they had some sort of structure. As time went by, and I think it was 1953, when Sheikh Abdullah, NC leader, were jailed by Indians, and they've changed their status and they brought in direct rule. And that was start of the encroachment into Kashmiris and then following that, both India and Pakistan introduced their mainstream parties there, which are, I believe they're illegal. Indians might be legal because the Maharaja did accede to India, but Pakistanis are certainly illegal. They have no right, but they've really suppressed indigenous local political parties, and they've introduced Pakistani mainstream parties like People's Party and Noon League and whoever, and then when Zia was in power, he was a dictator and he introduced a dictator into Kashmir. The Indians have followed suit. They've introduced mainstream Delhi parties into Kashmir. So I think it needs challenging whether it is legal or not legal. But what it is that they really have stopped evolution of democracy on both sides. You know, like people have a lot of misconceptions about Indian democracy. Yes, there is a flourishing democracy in mainland India, but they've done the opposite in Kashmir. There's no two ways about it. Pakistan at the same time, because we've got state subject rule, 1927, April, I think it was 10th of April 1927, state subject rule, Kashmiri nationality by our ruler, which clearly states that no non-Kashmiri can buy, inherit, sell land in Kashmir. Now, what Pakistanis did was, when they made this road, Pakistan to China, the first one, 1962, they deferred the state subject in Gilgit-Baltistan. What did that do? They've brought in people from from Pakistani mainland and started design engineering of demographic changes. And at the moment, the population might be 50-50. Pakistanis have been allowed to buy land, property, and evict local people. Now, Gilgit-Baltistan people may be found in Karachi, in Pindi, bagging, doing menial work, while the Pakistanis have overtaken. And both Pakistan and India simultaneously have strengthened their grip over respective regions under their occupation by introducing their mainstream political party, which I've just said, conducting controlled, rigged electoral process, especially in POK. I mean, it's unbelievable. Pakistan has created such a system which is called Ministry of Kashmir Affairs. And President of Pakistan, whatever President of Pakistan says, even in a press release, within 3 days, that has to be a law, that turns into a law which is implemented in Azad Kashmir. Absolutely. And the other thing is, in the name of land officers, Maharaja used to have people from Oxford and, you know, like for colleges and education. In the name of land officers, Pakistan has, there is no Kashmiri can be a Inspector General of Police. And I think Kashmiri touched on that. There is no Finance Secretary, and then the third grade secretary is Chief Secretary and runs from Islamabad. You know, they can't be Kashmiris. And ironically, if you look back, the whole of Pakistan civil service has been run by like Qudratullah Shah, like Mahbub al-Haq, like other people. There are Kashmiris from Jammu, even Nawaz Sharif. Like Kashmiris can run Pakistani civil service, but Pakistani will not let them run their own affairs. They have to be from Islamabad. So it's very ironic in that sense. So progressively, India and Pakistan have tried to annex. What Pakistan did was declared state subjecting Gilgit-Baltistan. In return, India went and created a hilly council, decentralizing state and trying to annex them into mainstream. And I think I'm taking a lot of time, but now what is happening in Gilgit-Baltistan is this CPAC, the China-Pakistan Economic Corridor. In the name of CPAC, there are more people being drafted into Gilgit-Baltistan, contrary to European Union's resolution, I think it was led by Emma Nicholson. There are more people have been drafted into Gilgit-Baltistan, more properties being bought, mainstream Pakistani parties are being introduced, and they have been introduced, they are in ruling, and local people do not get a look in. And then there are people, there are draconian laws, like army courts, and one of the person called Baba John, he's been jailed for 40 years, and his crime is, he was saying, well, okay, there's economic corridor, but what about us? That is his crime, and he's been jailed for 40 years, and then nobody talks about it. Now, we've come to a stage where I certainly believe, in conclusion, I'll finish up, I certainly believe, and I would like to draw your attention to pre-47 Jammu and Kashmir that had clear boundaries, clear identity as a nation, and post-47, India and Pakistan embarked on destroying Kashmiri identity, its sovereignty, its history, its heritage, and then there's engineered demographic changes are going on. Its way of life has been changed. The states use immense violence to dehumanize the inhabitants of J&K. There is, in my mind, there is no two ways about it. That the uprising in the valley of Kashmir is supported, engineered by Pakistan, and I've seen it myself during the earthquake and before. The camps in Azad Kashmir, POK or Gilgit-Baltistan. But one has to really question Indian wisdom, the way they handle the situation. The situation is not to go and start parroting and blinding people and start raping people and start, violating women and start abducting people and, the question of mass graves and so on and so forth. One has to question and then, hold India to account, because they came in to save us. And is this the best way they can save us? Surely India has to uphold the law, and India has to, in upholding the law, sometimes you have to be assertive. But I think it is more than assertive. I think it's taking the mickey. They have to be held to account, and then this disproportionate. And even there have been so many rapes, and then one question is rape being used as a deterrent measure? Because nobody's being charged, nobody's been held accountable, and then it's absolutely. Well, the start of this is because local people are suppressed, their identity taken away, and the democracy is suppressed, and then it can't go on like this. And if it did go on like this, I think we are looking at another nation being erased from the face of the earth, like the Aborigines, like the others. And this is absolutely certainly throughout Gilgit and Baltistan, unless the world community really comes and highlights and helps us. Within few years, and during the construction of these CPAC tracks, you will be hard pushed to find any Gilgiti or Balti in that region, and then that region will be cleansed of Kashmiris. And then I think I've said enough. Thank you very much. Thank you.
I thank you, Ali Adalat. Actually we have also the other panels, and after the break, they will. I will invite them. But before and last hours, we have the interactive dialogue. We want a session for answer and questions. So we are not believing that just we are talking, and nobody from the audience can raise questions or comment. So one thing I would like to clarify, that we have one session to interactive dialogue, to answer and question session. Read your paper regarding today's subject. Especially, I expect from you that you should emphasize some sort of terrorism which we are facing in the world, and how we can combat, how terrorism will wipe out from our society, and how we can actually this issue properly, scientifically address. Floor is yours.
Yeah. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. First of all, I would like to congratulate Jammu and Kashmir International People Alliance for organizing this important conference on very important topic, because whole world is facing and suffering due to terrorism. I would like to express condolences to all those grieved families who lost their loved one in terrorist attacks, especially here in Brussels airport attack, metro attack, and people who lost their lives, whether in South Asia, Africa, who are suffering due to terrorism, who lost their loved ones. We are with them, we express our sympathy, and we share their griefs. Before going into the details, I will just briefly say about something to describe the terrorism. Terrorism have different faces. Some areas they are hiding in the name of religion. Some areas they are the state policies. Like Pakistan, we live under the occupation of Pakistan. Pakistan claims that she is the champion of the self-determination of the Kashmiri people. But when it comes to those Kashmiris who are living in so-called Azad Kashmir or Gilgit-Baltistan, when they demand for their basic rights, their basic fundamental human rights, Pakistan is not ready to give them their rights. Internationally, they are propagating that Kashmir is a Muslim majority state. We should live together. Kashmir should be the part of Pakistan. But if, as Mr. Ali Adalat mentioned as well, that in Gilgit-Baltistan there are peaceful, political, progressive, secular, unarmed Baba Jan and his 11 colleagues, they were tried under Anti-Terrorist Act, and they were awarded 40 years life in prison. But when it comes to the valley, they say, yeah, there are violations. Of course, when people took gun, they come into street to kill the people. They are wearing vest to explode. Security agencies, law enforcement agencies, they will not welcome them with flowers. because they are going to kill somebody, innocent person. They damage whole society, they terrorize them. We should keep in mind, when we talk about militant Islam or extremist groups like Daesh, Jaish-e-Mohammed, Lashkar-e-Taiba, we must differentiate between secular Muslims and extremist groups, because secular Muslims are also on their target. They are targeted them like other people, because others are victim of due to their faith, but we are also their victim because they believe that we are not following the true path of Islam, and we are not loyal or faithful to their ideology, and they consider us as well as their enemies. I will share with you some findings of EU report regarding our areas. The pledge of the Kashmiri people has been the concern to the international community for over 69 years. And unforeseen consequences of the partition of the subcontinent of India left the formal independent, historic and beautiful princely state of Jammu and Kashmir divided between Islamic Republic of Pakistan and India. Born out of the conflict, the division has claimed thousands of lives and caused hurdle to free from their native areas and seek refuge to neighboring countries and abroad. Many in EU members, in South Africa, North America, in the other countries of the Europe, due to that invasion which was done by Pakistan on 22nd October 1947. Before, when British India was divided on the basis of religion, Muslim, they went to Pakistan or they created a state for Muslims, and there was India. But at that time, our legitimate ruler, Maharaja Hari Singh, he decided that we will not join either India nor Pakistan. We will remain independent. And he signed a standstill agreement with Pakistan. And Pakistan ratified that agreement. But unfortunately, within few weeks, she violated that agreement and they attacked Kashmir. And due to that attack, since 1947, Kashmiri people are suffering, and they are playing their proxy war in Kashmir for their energy needs, and because they build dams in Kashmir. But when we demand for the royalty, for the benefits of that water, that river resources, Pakistan says Kashmir is a disputed territory. Royalty only given to provinces. But when it comes to profit, they are getting from there. One hand they claim that this territory is disputed, but on the other hand they are exploiting our natural resources, and systematically now China and Pakistan are taking over all aspects of the life in our areas. Extremist groups are roaming freely in our areas, and they are getting full support, full protocol, and everybody knows Hafiz Saeed and others, those who are renowned terrorists. They have free hand to recruit people, to send them for holy war, and they are still under protest. They are promoting them. They did not took any sort of decision. They still believe there are good Talibans and bad Talibans. Those people who attack Afghan people or Kashmiri people, they are, in their books, they are good Taliban, and those who attack inside Pakistan, they are bad Talibans. But we are the sufferer due to their policies. And as power is concerned, as Mr. Ali also mentioned, that we are ruled by four powerful land officers. They are always imposed by Islamabad. They are the citizen of Pakistan. A Kashmiri cannot be promoted to any key portfolio. We have no representation in Pakistan National Assembly, Senate. They say that we are supporter of Kashmiris, but they are not ready to give us any sort of rights. Whereas the question of the water resources is also a factor. The dispute between Pakistan and India over Jammu and Kashmir, and it is an important element of any defective resolution. Where Jammu and Kashmir has been a source of conflict for nearly 69 years, a period punctuated by the armed conflict between India, Pakistan and China, where this dispute had allegedly claimed more than 80,000 lives. Pakistan now involved international terrorism. These are the findings of the EU report. And whereas China, India and Pakistan are nuclear powers, although India and Pakistan have not signed the nuclear non-proliferation treaty, there is a considerable evidence that all over many years, Pakistan has provided Kashmiri militants with training, weapons and funding. Regards, however, that Pakistan has consistently failed to fulfill the obligation to introduce meaningful and representative democratic structure in so-called Azad Kashmir. She is holding absolutely powers, and local representatives, they are just showpiece and they are powerless. They cannot appoint anybody in judiciary. They are unable to deliver anything. They are distributing development projects among those people. They consider that they are loyal to Pakistan. They are non-qualified. They are not qualified for road buildings, infrastructure, but they are distributing funds among those, and there is a widespread corruption among all systems, even education, health sector, everywhere you can see the corruption. We urge upon Pakistan to revisit its policies towards its neighboring countries, and using religion as weapon is distraction for not only for Kashmiris or Afghan or other countries, it is also destructive for Pakistani people who are also suffering due to wrong policies of the establishment. I thank you, Mr. President.
I thank you, Nasir Aziz Khan, he is spokesperson of United Kashmir People's National Party. Ladies and gentlemen, during Cold War era, there were some states, actually, they formulate a policy to use religion against enemy, and terrorism as foreign policy too. And unfortunately, whole of the world, one way or the other way, part of this game. But now the people, whether they are Pakistanis, whether they are Indians, whether they are Arabs, Syrians or Europeans or Americans, they are facing a threat from the terrorist extremist groups. Unfortunately, still many countries, and especially the powerful countries, did not realize that those states who still follow that policies, which were actually the religion, it is not only the Muslims, but many groups, extremist groups, even some areas, they are using some ethnic groups. But now we are facing in Middle East, we have experience in Europe, in different European cities, and now the civil liberties is curtailed. People living under harassments. Who is who? Who is sitting beside me? He is a noble person or he is a terrorist? What will his action next 3 or 4 minutes? But still, our foreign offices, our states is not serious to ask those states. Now they are there. And even the state of Pakistan, the people of Pakistan is suffering from the terrorist, extremist groups. And the civil society of Pakistan is living under harassments. Nobody can ask regarding some mullahs, some religious fanatic extremist groups. And they have built their empire. And even police have no right to check their madrasas. Although every time, one hand, they are using their air force against the Fatah peoples. And nobody raised these questions regarding human rights. How many people have been killed on those areas? Because media have no access. Human rights defenders have no right to visit those areas. But even then, still, terrorists have capability to blast anywhere in Pakistan. Whether it's Dyer community or it's students or in schools. So this should be realized. We are the people. Where the terrorists come from? Who is supporting them? Who is providing weapons? One thing I would like to clear, that when we are holding this conference, our aim is not bashing any country, but we are very much concerned about the terrorism. It is a big problem for the Muslim society, because Muslim society is actually totally hijacked by, like in Arab, people are not safe. In Syria, people are not safe. 100,000 people have been killed. In Srinagar, 100,000 people have displaced. And the government of India has failed to protect the life and liberty of the Kashmiris from these terrorist groups. And cosmetically, many people issue the statements, oh, human rights violation, this and that. But they are not there to ask Jaish-e-Mohammed, Lashkar-e-Taiba and the other groups, because they are holding flags, they are celebrating in Muzaffarabad, they are under patronage of the governments. They are asking any person who believes secularism, any person who is promoting a democratic norms. We think it is open fatwas of this group. The democracy and democratic norms is haram in Islam. Openly, they are from media and every day they are issuing statements. But unfortunately, world community is totally silent. Sometimes they know what Saudi Arabia is doing, what different establishment is doing in the Muslim society. So at this time, there is no any Muslim society. There is no any peace in this world. And all the rulers, they are one way or the other way backing the terrorist groups, just to blackmailing the Western countries, United States, and marginalizing the local people who are raising the voice in favor of their human rights, their basic rights, their cultural identities, protection of their civilizations. So this is the time. That's why we are not calling common people come and we are delivering such speech. We are targeting very, very dignified audience who think they are sitting in different policy making groups. So I think this is the time. If we ignore, then I think terrorists is everywhere. Everywhere. In Brussels, I know many extremist groups is operating here. They are preaching. They are recruiting the people. But nobody is there to complain, because when one time in Leeds, I delivered a speech and I point out the mosque and the consulate, they are holding a meeting and declaring, oh, Mr. Kashmiri is infidel. Why? Because I was asking that, look, our brother Kashmiris, they are destroying our generations. They are motivating our generation for just for killings. So we should aware it and we should play a role. We should educate our generations and we should come out from these clutches of the mullahs and their educations. So they hold in deals, and I have a video. There are issues fatwa in Europe. Even some people who is actually sitting in the councils holding imamate, and nobody is caring what they are doing. So extremism is day by day, and especially in Muslims. We are Muslims, but we are secular Muslims. We are democratic Muslims. We believe in humanity. Religion is a private matter, irrespective which religion you believe or which religion you adopt. But we are asking, being a Kashmiri, that irrespective, Kashmiri under India or Kashmiri under Pakistan, their rights should be protected. India and Pakistan should give us a space to a peaceful atmosphere where we can dialogue each other, we can debate and discussion. But unfortunately, we have no any opportunity. Whole electronic and print media in Pakistan is hijacked by these extremists, which are backed by the agencies and mullahs. And if any TV, like one of the TV is very brave and holding some kind of discussion regarding peace, and he was penalized, and that channel facing billions and $billion losses. Until and unless he tendered apology and asking, okay, we follow your instructions, we have no any aim and object to promote the peace, then they allow that media to run, to on air. So this kind of situation regarding terrorism is a very alarming situation. That's why we are holding this conference, and I think the findings both of our learned speaker is very excellent. And of course, it is the European Union's responsibility. It is European Union passed the resolutions in 2007, but there is no follow. And every time respective governments trying to befool the European Parliament. They're getting funds from Europe, but the correct system is not allow that funds to build a better atmosphere. So we ask European Union that European Union should follow up those resolutions which were passed in 2007, because we think that resolutions at least indicates our problems. And respective governments, Pakistan and India, both were promised with European Union that we should follow. It is only on the paper. And on the other hand, many friends know that what is the Pakistan design. The ambassador stationed at Brussels, he wrote a letter to all the European parliamentarians that Gilgit Baltistan have nothing to do with Kashmir. Although last 69 years, it was Pakistani official stand that whole state of Jammu Kashmir is disputed, including Gilgit Baltistan. That's why Gilgit Baltistan is not constitutionally part and parcel of Pakistan. According to the Pakistani constitution, sections 257, it's defined the Pakistani territory. But now slowly Pakistan is trying to annex. And we being a nationalist, we being a concerned citizen, we will not allow the states who divide and unilaterally annex over. Even India, if tried to annex Ladakh, or Jammu. We will not allow India to divide because it is not the mandate. India should act according to the treaty of accession and push back those who inflated it. Kashmir issue, historically, it was between India and Kashmiris. It was not between Pakistan and India. But unfortunately, through proxy wars and proxy politics, now Pakistan and India is party and we Kashmiri going to minus. We are seeking attention from the foreign offices of Pakistan and India. And nobody is helping Kashmiris. So that through these conferences, we are actually trying to highlight our miseries, our problems, and one way or the other way we think this is also the problem of the world community. If any part of the world is under the siege of terrorists, the day will come that the other country will also face the consequences. Sorry for, I think now I just give the floor a coffee. Okay, first we have a coffee break and then we come and stop. I would like to introduce Madame Asito Sotur. She is the president of the Association of Humanitarian Association. She is also working in United Nations Human Rights Council and she holds a position in the group. And she comes here just to solidarity with Kashmiri oppressed people. So now I would like to request her, floor is yours, madam. She actually speaks in French, and unfortunately we have no any persons who can translate it. But I think many people who understand French, except Ali Adalat because he is Britisher and Britishers don't want to learn any other language because they have very much proud on their. So, madam, floor is yours. Oh, it's great players. Can you, sir, you can come here? Slowly.
On va faire la doucement pour qu'elle traduise.
Please.
Speak slowly.
You are also teaching.
Je me présente, je m'appelle Madame So Aïssatou Touré, présidente de l'ONG Guinée Humanitaire, membre de ACI Human Rights, membre de Solidarité Suisse Guinée.
Is it? Okay. I would like to introduce myself. My name is Madame Touré. I'm a member of the Association of Guinea is a French-speaking country in Africa, and also I'm a member of some associations also in Switzerland.
Je suis très heureuse de participer à cette conférence
I'm very happy to participate in this conference.
Qui prennent pour la solidarité,
Conference which focuses on solidarity,
la tolérance,
the tolerance,
et d'autres communautés
and other communautés.
Oui, d'autres communautés, peuples pakistanais.
And other communities of Pakistani, Pakistan communities or something like that.
Cachemiriens.
And Kashmir.
Voilà. En effet, nous sommes contents, nous sommes contre
We are against
de toute forme de violence
every form of violence
vis-à-vis des minorités.
towards minorities.
Et en conclusion,
In conclusion,
je souhaite au peuple du Cachemire
I wish for the Kashmiri people
qu'on leur donne leurs droits.
that their rights are given,
C'est ce qu'ils réclament depuis 100 ans.
and these rights are requested over the last 60 years.
Que le peuple soit écouté,
The people should be listened to,
respecté,
respected.
leur faire confiance,
We should trust them,
leur laisser leur liberté
and we should grant them freedom.
d'expression, leur liberté d'expression,
Yeah, freedom of expression.
de leur donner de leur croyance également,
We need also to respect their beliefs,
et j'en passe.
etc., etc.
J'encourage M. Ali
I encourage Mr. Ali
et son équipe
and his team
pour continuer à se battre,
to continue to fight,
car c'est la vérité qui triomphera.
because it's the truth that will win.
Le peuple qui nous regardera ce film et qui écoutera ce que j'ai en train de dire aujourd'hui,
The people who is going to listen to what I'm saying today
qui ne baisse pas le bras,
should continue to fight and they should not surrender.
qu'on est solidaire avec eux.
We need to be solidaristic with them.
Le mensonge est très fort.
Le message,
Mensonge est très fort.
The lies are very misleading statements are very strong.
Mais c'est la vérité qui triomphera.
But it's the truth that will triumph.
Je propose
I propose
aux personnalités qu'ils donnent droit à ces peuples minorités
I propose that to the personalities which gives what
minorités,
which gives rise to these minorities,
qu'ils prennent l'exemple tout récent sur
which take the example, the very recent example,
sur le Mexique avec les FARC.
Which takes the example of Mexico in dealing with the FARC. Mexico, Colombia, which has dealt with the FARC.
Qui viennent de faire la paix.
And both the Colombian authorities and the FARC have made peace recently.
Le monde change.
The lie.
Et donc, ils doivent donner la liberté aux Cachemiriens.
They should give freedom to the Kashmiri people.
Je vous remercie.
I thank you so much.
Thank you, Madam Asito Sotu, her contribution and solidarity with the Kashmiris, and I hope that her contribution, cooperation, help will continue with our cause. And again, I thank you. Yeah. And also very much thankful for the translations, dear sir. Now I would like to ask our activist Faria, come on stage and floor is yours. Madam Faria.
Ladies and gentlemen, just bear with me a few minutes. I will get my paper and we will talk about that thing. First of all, thank you very much for giving me a proper place, or you can say that a time to express my feeling regarding to the Kashmir issue. And I'm very delighted and thankful to my chairman, and he's also my uncle, so I don't forget to say this, but people sometimes they get annoyed that why you are saying to uncle, why not the chairman? But anyway, thank you for that thing. I was supposed to be here before that in the afternoon session, but I'm really apologize for that, because women try to do plenty of things in one go. They wouldn't manage to do it, but I did try. So I will want to start my speech, and thank you for that. Everything these days seems to be talking about the human effects of modernization and globalization, and the way in which frustration, rage, and ultimately terrorism sprang up from the collision of the new and the traditional. Work connecting radical extremists to a reaction against modernity have been around for decades. Many have tended to lay this phenomena alongside and concomitant rise of fundamentalist strain in other religions. The terrorist attack of September 11, 2001 on the World Trade Center, Pentagon by Al-Qaeda affiliated extremists were a watershed event in international politics, as they signaled, among other things, the unmistakable rise of non-state actors and their potential impact on the global security environment, recognizing the importance of the event and its differences from previous terrorist activities. Many called it new terrorism. Along the way, the difference between radicalization and extremism, as well as their connection to terror, have disappeared. Radicalization in general refers to a process in which individuals are introduced to extreme views and overtly ideological messages, sometimes in connection with a particular interpretation of a religion. It is mainly driven by social, political, and economical inequalities, oppressions, discrimination, and frustration with the governance. At its roots, radicalization does not necessarily lead to act of violence. However, when it is transformed into extremism and radicalized individuals start using violence and engaging in unlawful activities, including terror, to attain their political, social, and economical targets. It becomes a problematic security issue instead of a simple political concept. What's more, in today's globalized world, dissatisfied people in different regions can easily get in touch with each other regardless of their background and turn the issue into a global problem. The terrorism has direct and indirect impact in 162 countries in terms of lives lost, injuries, property damage, and the psychological after effects of terrorism. You consider that, for example, we can give the example of Libya, Syria, Afghanistan. After the collapse of the old regimes, social and political vacuum was filled by religious-based terrorist groups and organizations who destroyed the existing social structure and claimed new radical social order by imposing their agenda through violence. Humanity has suffered a lot, locally and globally. Global terrorism has three different dimensions. The first is worldwide public support. The second is global reach. The third and much more important is the global political aspiration of certain terrorist groups The main example of groups with global public support and ISIS and Al-Qaeda, and the intent not to contradict its network of supporters. However, it is possible to claim that many groups have been enjoying a level of global support since their creation and are very strictly confined in their borders. The second dimension of global terrorism is its universal reach. In today's globalizing world, terrorists can reach their target more easily. Their targets are exposed in more places around the globe. They are capable enough to strike anywhere, anytime with the help of local support. All terrorist groups have their political ambition, and they always contradict with new political system and ideologies. Their way of govern is based on totalitarianism, which does not allow democracy, civil liberty, social justice, and free will. Democracy has indeed suffered a lot because of the challenges posed by international terrorism. Terrorist groups have an agenda to propagate their brand of Sharia and establish an Islamic Khilafat in letters and spirit. To accomplish this mission, they are resorting to barbaric and vicious acts to force the respective government to cede to their demands. The world today is indeed at crossroad that requires a concentrated efforts by the world to disrupt, dismantle, and defeat the terrorist network. Ladies and gentlemen, I would like to come and talk about more in our region, especially the South Asian region. And the religion terrorism has already started to ruin, and especially in Kashmir, how it works and how it has ruined our peaceful freedom struggle. To ruin Kashmiri society long before it became a global phenomenon. The freedom struggle of the people of Jammu and Kashmir has been deaded by the religion and fundamental forces on the behest of military establishment of Pakistan. Pakistan has always used religious terrorism as a proxy war against its opponent. Consequently, Kashmir has become a battlefield of proxy wars between two neighboring countries. Resulted destruction of social structure, mass migration, killing of thousands of civilians, and beginning of armed race in the region. The issue of Kashmir has been depicted as a holy war, and the genuine grievances of the people have faded away. Today's reality is that extremist forces are ingrained and have imperative role in the movement. One can envisage the future of the liberation movement of Kashmir. Recent event in Indian administrative Kashmir narrates the inside story of the whole struggle that spanned almost 3 decades. Ladies and gentlemen, the democracy, I just also want, because the democracy in Pakistan is very much interlinked with the Kashmir issue, so I also want to shed my point of view on it. So democracy in Pakistan has always been a predominant debate since its creation. Soon after the independence, military establishment to control the state affairs and restrain the politicalization of the society. With the collaboration of feudal lords and religious segments, the military managed to steer the country, equipping by religious ideology. The outfit of the country has never engendered the demoralization of the country. After the 70 years of the political journey of the country, nothing has much changed. Democracy is still a utopian illusion of the citizen. The religious extremism has more strengthened and formidable, and military enjoys more power and space than the other institution of the state. Political parties are confined, and electoral process has always been controlled and manipulated. Elected parliamentarian has no jurisdiction inquiry about any matters that related to the military establishment. Democratic dispensation cannot provide suitable atmosphere to accomplish the agenda of the stakeholder. So we believe that only through democracy, terrorism can be combated and people's aspiration can be met. And I would like to thank you again for hearing me and list my views. And I hope that most of the people, they do agree the same agenda, because we as a united can fight against this war, because this is not a war of one region. This is a war for it affected the whole entire globe. And in West, I think that they can do more things. What they are doing, we appreciate them, but we need more and more from them in terms of democracy, to restore democracy in Pakistan in real sense, not just to give a fuel to one regime and once to the other. When their agendas change, when you can say that when they don't need them anymore, they just change the regime. We don't want to change the faces. We just want a real change in sense of peace and democracy. And that's how the way it goes. And thank you for remembering.
I thank you for Yati for her contribution, and I think her finding is very much clear regarding democracy and terrorism and the people's rights. It's an irony, and I think it's a great tragedy. A civilian elected prime minister in Pakistan, and the extremist groups declared him an Indian agent, and nobody asked them why you are saying that he is our prime minister. Everybody is collecting. So this kind of situations which we are facing, Pakistani Democrat facing, Kashmiri secular and democratic people facing the conditions that a sitting prime minister, elected prime ministers, is facing such kind of allegations from the mullahs, from the oppositions and the people who have some vested interest. You can imagine when a prime minister, sitting prime minister, is facing this kind of propaganda. So what is the position of those who has no power? So now I would like to invite our dear comrade and party, United Kashmir People's National Party Foreign Affairs Secretary, Mr. Jamil Maqsood. He is a very learned and a very active person. Due to his, I think he is not prepared his written speech, a busy schedule, and he is working 9-10 hours in a shop and this. But even then, I hope his deliberations will be more effective. So, floor is yours, sir.
Thank you very much, Mr. President, and the presidents of different non-governmental organizations, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome in Brussels. And most of the participants do know very well about the problem of Kashmir and the problem of the whole region, South Asian region. The previous speakers have comprehensively discussed most of the aspects which are deterring rights of the people of Pakistani peripheries particularly. When we talk about Pakistani peripheries, the areas of Gilgit-Baltistan and the area of so-called Azad Kashmir, it has historical and constitutional perspective. Maybe it could displease some elements, some people, some lobbyists, but fact is fact and the truth is truth. And it is recognized that by distorting truth and facts, you cannot destroy the shape of the truth, but eventually you destroy yourself. So we have seen in last 69 years that one portion of our side is continuously trying to distort history and the facts. And the fact is that Kashmiri people, before the division in 1947, they were striving for their democratic rights. They were asking Maharaja of Kashmir, Maharaja Hari Singh, to allow them more democratic rights. And even in 564 princely states of British India, Kashmir was the only princely state where right of the vote was introduced, and the Kashmiri people were allowed to elect their representative. Even 2 representatives were belongs to our region. And when India became independent and Pakistan became another country, we have to see who invaded into state first and why. On the day of 15th August 1947, we become an independent country. But why Pakistan attacked? And when we say that it was Pakistan who created Kashmir conflict, it again displeased our Pakistani friends, because they do not want to see the reality. At one hand, they say that the final settlement of Kashmir dispute shall be decided according to the wishes of the Kashmiri people. Okay, welcome, very good. You endorse, you acknowledge our wishes. But on the other hand, they say, no, you have the only one choice. You have to be the part of Pakistan by hook or by crook. You cannot choose India as a neighbor. You cannot choose to be independent. But you have to be the part of Pakistan. But when we say, why? We are Muslims. Okay, very good argument. Then what about Bangladesh? They were also your Muslim brothers. And what about Balochistan? They are also your Muslim brothers. And what about Sindhis, Saraikis, Hazaras, the people of Hazara? They are demanding devolution of power. They are demanding another province within the federation, within the country, and they are not allowed. We have nothing to do with the social, economical, political and constitutional problem of the people of mainland Pakistan. Our issue is entirely different. The so-called Azad Kashmir is not a constitutional part of Pakistan, as Mr. Chairman said. That Article 257, the clause of Article 257 of Constitution of Pakistan, which clearly states that when Kashmir issue will be decided, then the government of Pakistan shall negotiate with the people or with the government of that state. So it is only 2 lines of explanation that is given in the Constitution of 1973. Only 2. Whereas Article 370 that governs Indian administrative part of Jammu and Kashmir has a complete set of rules. And due to social media and due to new developments, as we have seen that the son of Maharaja Hari Singh also expressed his views a couple of days ago at Indian Parliament, that under these 3 clauses, a provisional treaty of accession was signed between Maharaja of Kashmir and Government of India. So, with regard to that provisional treaty of accession, the Kashmir issue is between the people of Jammu and Kashmir and India. And Pakistan has no locus standi, as Mr. Chairman already explained in his introductory speech. So, the people of Pakistani administrated Kashmir, they have no voice. There are only 5 newspapers published. There is no TV channel. There are only 3 FM radio stations which were created after 2005 earthquake. And these local medias, these newspapers and 3 FM radio channels are even not allowed to broadcast or to publish the news which are coming from diaspora Kashmiris. So the people and the political activists are living just behind an iron curtain, and we are trying to break that curtain, that iron curtain which is established by the security establishment of Pakistan. So we have other speakers too, and thank you very much once again for the time. Thank you.
I thank you, Mr. Jamil Maqsood. Actually, due to paucity of time, I always request to the speakers that they should consider time constraint, because we must give some time to the audience and we would like to hear their questions. So it is our privilege that one of our great friends from Balochistan, he is sitting here, and I will request to him Mr. Manir Mangal. He is a Baloch human rights activist. So I request him to come on the stage and have a few words. So floor is yours, sir, but be short.
Thank you, Chairman, for giving me this honor to sit with you people and express some feelings, because we, the Baloch people and the Kashmiri people, are the victim of the same state. But unfortunately, when we cry, when we express our concerns, when we try to present our situation, when we express our feelings against occupation, when our people resist forced occupation, when our people try to express their culture, when our people try to express their language, try to read their language, then the state which has occupied us starts crying on us, starts terrorizing us, starts disappearing us. That's why today we see thousands of people are disappeared. That's involuntary disappearance from Balochistan. In the same way, there are people who have been disappeared from Kashmir, particularly from POK. Then we also have seen the dead bodies, our loved ones. They have drilled, they have tortured, they have written statements on that Pakistan means La ilaha illallah, and they have thrown those dead bodies in the streets, in the deserts, on the roads, and we have seen our loved ones' dead bodies hanging on the trees. Today, more than 24,000 Baloch people are missing, including females, including kids. I myself was disappeared and was a disappeared person for 2 years, only for trying to launch a TV channel in my mother tongue, Balochi. So, other than that, whatever other peoples have expressed with respect to human rights situation, particularly in Kashmir, I will present some data, some facts about the current CPEC project, because the Pakistani media, in the Chinese government and Chinese media is also expressing big, huge cries that we are going to build and pour thousands of dollars in Balochistan and give the people this sort of developments. So there, just few days earlier, in the Express Tribune is a newspaper that's a big newspaper in Pakistan that neither belongs to Baloch nor belongs to Kashmiri, and there was an article written by Qadir Tanoli. So Qadir Tanoli is neither a Baloch nor a Kashmiri. In that he has written some facts. So I am going to just present some express of that article. The article states that the Punjab gets lion's share in Chinese projects. And in that it states that approximately 53% of those projects will be in Punjab, plus 11% will be in Islamabad. So the total percentage of the project is 64% will be benefit directly or indirectly to the people of Punjab. And as per the official statement, this is the official statement which has been presented in the Pakistani Assembly, that the total number of projects is 330, out of which 176 will be inside Punjab, 37 will be inside Islamabad, so total will be 213. So the Punjab and Islamabad people will benefit approximately from 213 projects. The remaining 117 will be distributed to the rest, and the Baloch people will be having only 8 projects from this 330 projects. So there are other 41 projects which are not allocated or not disclosed. I do not know why. It's the state which always try to hide the things from the people. If we have a concern that those 41 projects will also be given to the Punjab or to the Islamabad. So there a question was raised in Pakistani Parliament by Shahida Rahmani. So in a written statement, in a written reply to that question, the Pakistani Interior Ministry has stated that the question was about the security situation of the Chinese workers, not about the Pakistani, not about the Punjabi, not about the Baloch, not about the Kashmiri people. It was about the Chinese workers. So the Interior Ministry has replied that approximately 16,703 security officials have been deployed for the protection of Chinese employees or Chinese nationals. The number of the Chinese nationals working inside Pakistan is 8,819. So I'm just quoting this, quote and unquote, that 16,703 security personnel have been deployed for the protection of 8,819 Chinese nationals inside Pakistan. So then there was a question, how many Chinese security officials have been inducted for the security and protection of the Chinese nationals inside Pakistan? So the response with respect to this question by the State Interior Ministry is cannot be disclosed because it is a state secret. We cannot disclose the number of the Chinese army personnel who are here inside Pakistan for the protection of the Chinese nationals. Now, with respect to this project, I'm just because of the time, so I'm stating another fact that in Balochistan, Quetta, which is the capital city, there is a Chinese official. He is the chief liaison officer. His name is Zhang Li, and he holds a rank of lieutenant colonel, which is equivalent to the brigadier in Pakistani army. So equal position to brigadier. His office is close to Quetta cantonment in Jinnah town, so that the number of the employees who are working in that office directly under him is 18. And the number of the employees who are working with the Chief Secretary of Balochistan, who is running the whole province, is 14. And this gentleman having 18 personal staff just only for few projects. And he just recently he has written direct instructions, direct letters to the Communication and Works Secretary of Balochistan, stating that I need more buildings for Chinese security officials. So it states that we the people we have no means for the state. The state is there looking to loot our resources by all means, and that's why they have opted a policy, a systematic policy to subjugate us, to eliminate us and loot our resources. And unfortunately, we people have concerns, and that's why we have been crying this thing from the first day, that we do not allow this thing, we do not accept this thing, that we shall be eliminated only for the virtue of being Muslims. That's why we stand against this occupation, and in the same way the Kashmiris stand against this occupation. And I highly present my concerns for the Kashmiri people, and I highly regard the Kashmiri people's this struggle. Thank you, Chairman. Thanks.
I thank you, Mr. Manir Mangal, for his contribution, and he also highlighted a very big project which is designed by the Chinese government, $46 billion, which is known as CPEC, or Chinese Pakistani Economic Corridor. We are not against any developmental projects, but we have also very serious concern regarding this project, because Gilgit-Baltistan is a disputed territory. Until and unless China and Pakistan both are not declared their own policy about regarding the Kashmir issue, we will always oppose this, and in front of many international forums, because we cannot allow just for the Chinese to have the Chinese interest, and they demolish our aspirations, our national identity, and destroy our environment, because this project have no single penny for the protection of the environment. There is no any budget regarding the people's development. It is totally a commercial project which actually benefited to the Chinese traders. But in Pakistan there is an environment, army and civilian, and everybody is claiming that this project is a game changer, and Pakistani will become the prosperous. So we hope, we pray for the Pakistanis. Pakistani must be prosperous. But in this project, where the army general is saying if anybody is dare to say anything about this project, he will be hanged, he will be killed. Well, the people there have a very serious concern. Army chief is threatening the people. So this is very alarming situation. Now I would like to ask Mr. Morris Katala, President of the organization. So floor is yours, sir.
Je parle à partir d'ici. Merci beaucoup, Monsieur le Président, Mesdames et Messieurs, chers collègues de la société civile. Je m'appelle Maurice Katala, mon nom vient d'être cité. Je représente une ONG qui s'appelle Action internationale pour la paix et le développement dans la région des Grands Lacs, mais je suis aussi vice-président de la coordination des ONG africaines. C'est une grande plateforme composée de plusieurs organisations africaines, dont l'une est à ma gauche, le CIRAC, le Comité international pour l'application de la Charte africaine des droits de l'homme et des peuples. Donc, c'est pour nous un réel plaisir d'être venus ici. Chaque fois que nous sommes invités, nous avons un grand plaisir de partager avec vous deux messages, un message de soutien et un message de solidarité. Message de soutien et de solidarité qui est inspiré par l'esprit de la conférence afro-asiatique de Bandung qui a eu lieu en 1955, si ma mémoire est bonne, pour libérer tous les peuples de ces deux continents. Malheureusement, au jour d'aujourd'hui, les résultats ne sont pas probants. Les souffrances, la violence, la spoliation, les indépendances truquées, fictives, puisque octroyées par les anciens colonisateurs avec un arrière-pensée. Ça ne va pas. Les peuples de Cachemire, comme les peuples du continent africain, partagent aujourd'hui un triste sort. En témoigne la migration clandestine tous les soirs. Devant nos écrans de télévision, nous assistons à la mort de nos enfants, qui ont reçu pourtant une formation, qui ont pourtant des pays dotés de richesses immenses. Leurs indépendances ont failli. Leurs États ont failli. Tout est à recommencer. Le peuple de Cachemire et les peuples du continent d'Afrique doivent commencer dès maintenant, la main dans la main, de se tenir pour pouvoir conquérir une autre indépendance, un autre esprit de liberté, puisque aujourd'hui, nous sommes loin du compte. Et c'est ça, on s'étonne aujourd'hui, qui est le terrorisme. C'est vrai que ce thème est très difficile à aborder, et si je dois me mettre à faire des exposés ou un exposé là-dessus, ça sera jusqu'au champ de coq qu'on n'aura pas terminé l'affaire. Donc, qu'est-ce qu'il faut faire aujourd'hui? Notre rôle aujourd'hui, c'est de mobiliser et de rappeler sans cesse les structures étatiques et interétatiques, mais surtout interétatiques, puisque la plupart des États ont des agendas cachés. Mais au moins, les structures internationales et interétatiques, je vais parler quand même des Nations Unies, doivent se mettre au travail. Notre rôle en tant que société civile, c'est de rappeler cela. Comment voulez-vous que le dossier Cachemire soit inscrit au Conseil de sécurité depuis 1948? Depuis 1948 jusqu'à ce jour, aucune vision ne soit tracée. Mais à partir du moment où quelqu'un a une maladie et qu'il ne la soigne pas, vous connaissez les conséquences. Donc, les conséquences aujourd'hui, c'est la violence entretenue par des militaires au Cachemire, certains militaires des pays voisins. C'est aussi les groupes armés qui sont instrumentalisés par ces mêmes États de la région pour créer la terreur, semer la terreur contre la population civile et la déstabilisation de la région. En tant que défenseurs des droits de l'homme, nous ne pouvons pas accepter que les peuples soient terrorisés, comme c'est le cas au Cachemire, mais comme c'est le cas aussi sur le continent africain aujourd'hui. Nous nous demandons où est-ce que nous allons. Encore une fois, nous allons continuer à rappeler aux États et aux institutions interétatiques les responsabilités de promouvoir la paix et la sécurité internationale dans le monde. Je vous remercie.
I thank you, Dr. Morris Katala, for his support. And just because I'm not an expert or I did not know very well the French, but what I understand that he actually explained the situation of Africa and Kashmir and compare it and give us an overview that one day definitely Kashmiri people will win and they have to enjoy their basic rights as now to African people after the liberation. They have abolished all those discriminatory clauses from the constitution and abolished apartheid. So I thank you again. Now I would like to ask Mr. Dr. Malouza. He is the president of SERAP. Floor is yours, sir.
Thank you very much, Mr. President. My name is Mr. Malouza. I'm from Congo, DRC, Democratic Republic of the Congo, in Central Africa, and I stay in Geneva since many times ago, long time. I am very happy to participate to this meeting, this big meeting. I think it is the third time for me to be among you, to bring the voice of the African civil society, to give my support to the fight you are conducting against the arbitrary, against one of the most tragic challenge of these times, the terrorisme, the extrémisme. Le terrorisme et l'extrémisme sont planétaires at this moment. These two challenges sont portés, ces deux défis majeurs que sont le terrorisme et l'extrémisme sont portés par des États et par des groupes qui veulent justifier leurs revendications identitaires, leurs revendications politiques, leurs revendications religieuses, par la violence, par la terreur, par l'intimidation, par la peur. Et la réponse de votre parti, Monsieur le Président, the answer of your party is non-violent one. Vous êtes l'incarnation, vous êtes la réponse même de ce que le professeur Jean Ziegler appelle l'insurrection démocratique de la société civile planétaire. The democratic insurrection of the global civil society. C'est vraiment, it is important for me to say that I am here also to participate to this insurrection, to this democratic insurrection of the global civil society. Lorsque la violence est déployée de manière aveugle, comme le fait le Pakistan, contre des civils, contre des enfants, au cours des mariages, during family meetings, what can we think about that? Qu'est-ce que nous pouvons penser d'un tel état? Qu'est-ce que nous pouvons dire? What can we say about Pakistan when blind violence is spread against civilians? Cet État est membre du Conseil des Nations Unies, comment on appelle, du Conseil de sécurité, membre du Conseil des Nations des droits de l'homme, et des examens périodiques universels ont lieu, qui se félicitent chaque année du rapport, tous les 4 ans, pardon, des rapports présentés par des tels États. Il n'est pas le seul. Pakistan is not alone. Nous avons le devoir, we have the duty to promote non-violence, but we have also the duty to make evident that in sometimes, dans certains moments, la non-violence n'est plus la réponse adaptée à certaines situations. Voilà ce qui a amené mon collègue à dire que certaines situations sont porteuses de violence. Parce qu'elles créent un terreau, un contexte, un environnement qui amène les non-violents à être violents. En tant que défenseur des droits de l'homme, notre message est le suivant: continuons. Don't give up. Don't give up. We have to continue our struggle against the violence of Pakistan, the violence of India. We have to continue our struggle by the means of justice, by the means of spreading en essaimant, en diffusant les idéaux de non-violence, parce que there is no atomic bomb capable to destroy the truth. There is no atomic bomb which is able to destroy the truth. La vérité ne peut être détruite par aucune bombe atomique. Tôt ou tard, la vérité finit quand même par triompher. Donc, Monsieur le Président, je crois que vous avez, dans la présentation que vous avez faite, in your presentation, you showed to everybody here that your cause is right. You make evident for everybody here that the support of the African civil society of the world must be given to you to allow you to continue the defense of the rights of the Kashmiri people in the United Nations, in the European Union, everywhere où il y a des yeux, de cœurs disponibles pour vous écouter. Partout où il y aura des oreilles, des cœurs enclins à la bonne volonté pour vous écouter, il faut que votre voix se fasse entendre. Et nous nous engageons solennellement, en tant qu'ONG africaine, à vous apporter où que ce soit le soutien dont vous aurez besoin pour consolider, to reinforce, to enhance the democratic insurrection of the global civil society. Thank you very much, Mr. President.
I thank you, Dr. Maloza. His contribution. He's a very intellectual person. He has a very long history for the struggle of the rights of the people. And really, his support and the African civil society support is very, very, very matter for us, because they people also gone through which we are still. So I again thank you, Dr. Mulaza, for your support and your contribution. Now I would like to one of my friends from Spain Mr. Francisco Chica. Actually, it's very difficult name. I'm sorry for that. I cannot pronounce in a true word. But thank you for his solidarity, and he came, and I would like to ask him. Floor is yours, sir, in a short time. And we have only left one more speaker, and after that we have resolutions. Mr. Sergeant, I ask you to sit on here, but lately I ask him for the resolutions. Okay, floor is yours. Very short.
Okay. Good afternoon, Mr. President of Organization United Kashmir People National Party. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen from different organizations. This message is from and for Spanish community in the world in solidarity from Kashmir people. The question is, what happened with the human rights of the people in the Kashmir country? I am really happy for participation in this conference. After this introduction, I am speaking in my own language. It is Spanish. Bien, invitados todos, saludos. Bueno, para mí es un honor estar aquí presente representando a España en el reclamo de los derechos humanos de los habitantes de Kashmir. Antes del año 1947, Kashmir era un país libre y democrático. Después de este año, por intereses territoriales de la India, China y Pakistán, este país se encuentra dividido y ha perdido sus derechos humanos. Dicho de alguna manera, estos ciudadanos de este país llamado Kashmir corren con la mala suerte de encontrarse en el centro de las tres potencias mundiales que son India, China y Pakistán. Cada una de estas luchando por sus intereses propios, sin tomar en cuenta que en estos encuentros armamentados están quitando el derecho a vivir a muchos seres humanos inocentes que habitan en esta área, los cuales son los que derraman su sangre cada que se producen estos encuentros armamentados de dichas potencias antes mencionadas. Yo quisiera poder nombrar muchas de las violaciones de los derechos humanos que se dan en Kashmir, pero dado el poco tiempo que tengo, solo voy a nombrar algunas de ellas. Primero, voy a hablar de Pakistán, cuando algunos de los habitantes de la zona donde ellos se han apoderado protesta por sus derechos humanos, el ejército de dicho país los desaparece a estos ciudadanos sin saber su paradero, especialmente con los habitantes de las provincias de Gilgit-Baltistan. Por ende, los familiares de dichas personas desaparecidas no saben dónde se encuentra su hermano, su marido, su hijo, etcétera, etcétera. Segundo, el área predominada por China, la mayoría son budistas y musulmanes, pero con mucho dolor voy a hablar que aquí en esta zona ningún tipo de persona tiene derecho a hablar, a escribir, ni tampoco protestar nada de las violaciones a los derechos humanos que ellos la viven a diario. Por ejemplo, la matanza brutal a más de 2.000 estudiantes suscitada en la Universidad China, ubicada en el área de Kashmir, donde se ha apoderado China, por reclamar sus derechos humanos. Entonces lo que quiero decir es que en esta zona no existe la palabra, ya que quien proteste lo paga con la vida. Tercero, la zona donde se ha apoderado la India, todos los medios de comunicación como la radio, la televisión, los periódicos y demás medios de comunicación son amenazados a diario, pagándolo con su vida. Sin ellos saber, hablan o escriben un artículo en relación a los derechos humanos de Kashmir. Como ya les he comentado, recorriendo a vuelo de pájaro por parte del historial de estas tres potencias, India, China y Pakistán, la vida la toman como un juego. Esto quiero decir que a quien proteste por la mínima que sea esta protesta, se le quita la vida o se los desaparece, cosa que hoy en día no debería suceder, porque todos los seres humanos tenemos derecho a la vida y a la libre expresión. Lo que quiero es hacer un llamado a todas las organizaciones de derechos humanos del mundo mundial, de todos los continentes como son América, Asia, Europa, África y Oceanía, que intervengan en este derramamiento inocente de sangre. Juntos podemos lograrlo, hermanos. Como todos sabemos, la unión hace la fuerza. También hago un llamado a la India, China y Pakistán que paren con sus juegos que quitan la vida a muchos seres inocentes. I am speaking in representation of Yasser Arafat, representant in the organization United Kashmir People Natural Party in Spain. Yasser Arafat is Kashmir citizen. Yasser has a throat problem. Thank you very much.
I thank you, friend from Spain. His contribution may be this time our audience and participants listen many languages and deliberately actually we are formulating this kind of speakers. Why? Because we should interact with each other and honor their languages but again I thank you Yasser Arafat. He is our friend and he brings a very learned activist and his solidarity. Now I have the last speaker and after that we have the resolutions. So I would like to request Lemino the Nico, the President African Cultural International. This organization is also have a consultative status and working with United Nations Human Rights Council and different European forums, and he is also not only our friend but he supports not only the Kashmiri cause but also he is very much sympathy with Baloch people, and he always very vulnerable to speak in favor of the oppressed people, the globes. So I would like to, sir, floor is yours.
Merci. Merci Monsieur le Président de m'avoir quand même honoré de participer à cette conférence, vraiment. Mesdames, Messieurs, chers invités, camarades de la société civile, je suis ému et à la fois confus de ce que nous avons entendu dans cette salle depuis cet après-midi. Je pense que tout a été dit. Je pense que tout a été dit en tous les mots. Mais on ne peut pas parler. On ne peut pas parler. On ne peut pas parler de paix sans parler de décolonisation. La décolonisation dans différentes régions du monde a eu des conséquences encore visibles aujourd'hui. De ce point de vue, l'apparition de l'ancien empire britannique des Indes offre un exemple concret. Le 15 août 1947, l'Inde et le Pakistan accèdent à l'indépendance. L'Inde devient un État multiculturel et laïque. De son côté, le Pakistan devient un État musulman centralisé. Le problème du Cachemire est par conséquent aussi vieux que l'Inde et le Pakistan en ce sens qu'il est né de l'apparition de l'Inde coloniale donnant naissance à ces deux États en 1947. Le Cachemire est la parfaite illustration des affrontements qui suiviront l'accession des deux États indiens et pakistanais à l'indépendance. Cette province n'a jamais cessé depuis d'être la proie des convoitises de l'un ou l'autre État. En effet, c'est comme un enfant de la première vague de la décolonisation. La région du Cachemire n'a connu aucun répit depuis l'apparition de l'Inde. En un demi-siècle, les conflits dans cette région montagneuse ont fait plusieurs centaines de morts, ce qui est déplorable. Ce conflit répétait strictement les relations indo-pakistanaises tumultueuses depuis 1947. La région du Cachemire est caractérisée d'un conflit indo-pakistanais ancien et apparemment sans solution durable, en dépit d'une normalisation des relations entre les deux pays. La question du Cachemire demeure l'objet d'un face-à-face plus ou moins périlleux, eu égard aux nerveux défis qui s'opposent, des tensions de l'arme nucléaire par les deux pays, et ces nucléaires qui s'était passé en 1998. Extrémistes religieux, des deux côtés terrorisme. Le Cachemire apparaît comme le reflet contenu de la nature des relations indo-pakistanaises, sans solution durable pour l'heure. Dans une première partie, je vais tenter d'analyser le contexte historique ayant permis d'abord l'éclatement du conflit et la difficulté de sa résolution. Ensuite, il s'agit essentiellement d'étudier l'apparition de ces enjeux et conséquences directes sur la province du Cachemire et d'analyser après différents facteurs explicatifs de ce conflit. Ils sont nombreux. On ne peut pas les citer tous, mais il y a plusieurs facteurs qui étaient là, qui continuent toujours à gangréner, si vous voulez, cette population qui est une minorité, en quête de paix et surtout en quête de solidarité, mais nous savons tous que là où il y a intérêt, en général, ça suscite quand même des réactions aussi violentes. Et c'est le cas pour cette région. On voit toujours l'exemple en Afrique. Je donnais l'exemple concret de ce qui se passe au Gabon actuellement. Il y a eu des élections. Ces élections, pourquoi cette vieille France, disons, qui a eu toujours le monopole de la colonisation en Afrique, nous savons tous que, par exemple, le président gabonais Ali, tout le monde est conscient quand même de sa défaite, mais la France est en position de maintenir cet homme devant ce peuple. Pourquoi? Parce qu'il y a des intérêts aussi, disons, économiques, nettement. Donc c'est un peu le cas dans plusieurs conflits. Mais je ne pourrais pas aller en avant sans susciter aussi cet intérêt humain qui suscite aujourd'hui le peuple cachemérien, à qui nous apportons un soutien illimité afin que la paix y règne, afin que des solutions soient apportées pour une paix définitive. En tant qu'activiste, en tant que défenseur des droits de l'homme, au nom de mon organisation AC Human Rights, comme l'a présenté le président, nous serons toujours à vos côtés, nous serons toujours à votre égard, afin que solutions soient apportées. Je ne peux pas finir sans remercier l'ensemble des participants de cette conférence, qui est vraiment une cause noble, parce que qui est pour la paix ne peut pas lutter pour autre chose, beaucoup plus hautement chercher. La paix est d'abord une solution pour le monde, et la paix est d'abord aussi une citation que tout un chacun devrait apporter en soi, afin que nous puissions vivre dans une communauté aussi participative à toutes les économies. Je remercie Monsieur le Président. Merci bien.
I thank you, Mr. Lem Danico, for his contribution, and very excellent. He was analyzing the situation, and he said very encouraging words for the Kashmiris and extend his support. Before I request Mr. Sajid Abbasi for the resolution, I would like to special thanks Mr. Wesson Lee. She is from Aachen, Germany, and she is actually working on the refugee, and she is very sympathetic, and I have a very special thank for her. And Meshalin, she is a journalist as well, and human rights activist. So she has both two capabilities, and here, so I would also like to thank you, Mr. Meshalin. My special thanks to UNPO representatives. He is here to observe. UNPO is also have also long history for this oppressed nations right to self-determination. So I have also very thank and my gratitude. I would also like to thank you, Mr. Yasir Naveed and Talat Bhatt. Their presence is also very much means for us. So again, I would like all of you, and one of my friend from Srinagar, he's very humble, and we are part and parcel of our national struggle. So we all one, and even irrespective who is from where. So, but our cause is just, we are fighting for the humanity, we are struggling for the cause of the people, we are pro-people, we want justice for all, and discriminatory attitude and clauses and constitution should be abolished, and people should enjoy equal rights. So now I would like to request Mr. Sajid Abbasi. He is General Secretary of United Kashmir People's National Party, Belgium unit. So, sir, please.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. So, it's my privilege. We are hosting this conference on this title, which you can see on slides. So now we have declaration of the conference. I'm going to read that declaration. So declare that state of Jammu and Kashmir is indispensable political entity that comprises area of Gilgit-Baltistan, Jammu, Ladakh, Kashmir Valley, and so-called Azad Kashmir, including Shakzam Valley, which is handed over to People Republic of China by Pakistan. Endorse that only institutions of dialogue can pitch an amicable solution of Jammu and Kashmir dispute. This is the first point. The second is stress that a national reconciliation process should be encouraged between the divided region of the former princely state. The third point is reaffirm its commitment to continue political resolve of the problem and deplore that violence in any shape and anywhere in the state cannot yield any pragmatic change. The fourth point is call upon world community and particularly on European Union to use its good office for a peaceful settlement of the conflict. The EU should also follow up its 24th May 2007 resolution titled Kashmir Present Situation and Future Prospect. Fifth point, assert that the China-Pakistan Economic Corridor has detrimental effects on Gilgit-Baltistan environment. Lament that the neighbor countries are colonizing natural resources of the disputed region of Gilgit-Baltistan and so-called Azad Kashmir. And the sixth point is herald both Pakistan and China that project of their geostrategic interest is destroying ecosystem and livelihood of vulnerable communities. And the seventh point is recommended that the people of the divided and disputed state of Jammu and Kashmir are the major stakeholders in any dialogue process. Therefore, they must be recognized as center of dialogue between Pakistan and China. The eighth point is demand that since the CPEC is being built through a disputed region, therefore a provision should be incorporated in the agreement that future government of the state of Jammu and Kashmir shall have a right to negotiate new terms with the representative government of Pakistan and China, asking both government of Pakistan and China to officially recognize Gilgit-Baltistan as a disputed region and part of former Prince state of Jammu and Kashmir. And the ninth point is deplore sedition charges leveled against political leaders of Gilgit-Baltistan and so-called Azad Kashmir and demand that such fabricated charges against must be withdrawn. All political prisoners in all parts of the state, including Baba Jan and his colleagues, should release unconditionally. Ban on books and constitutional restraints on freedom of expression and thoughts are unacceptable in Pakistani peripheries. The 10th point is criticize on the extension of protection of Pakistan Ordinance and National Action Plan in Pakistani peripheries are in principle contradiction with the UNSIP resolution on Jammu and Kashmir. And the 11th point is emphasizes on the revival of state subject rule in Gilgit-Baltistan and reiterate that any demographic change in these areas would be rejected. And 12th point is asking world community to special focus of constitutional restraints and democratic dispensation in Pakistani administrated Kashmir region, demand that Pakistan must fulfill its commitment with regard to the Truce Agreement of 1948. But at last, not least, I would like to say thank you so much for your participation. Thank you.
I have my special thanks Madam Shabana for her presence. So thank you very much for all our participants, and I think because this conference was focused on these topics and we are not actually discussing regarding the situation of Kashmir Valley or Jammu or Ladakh, but we have very much concern about the people's life and their concern. So we think whether a Kashmiri living in Jammu or in Srinagar or Indian administration or Pakistani administration or Chinese, we are one nation and our inspiration is same. So Government of India and Government of Pakistan should protect the life, liberty and take care of the people. It is the sole spirit of the United Nations resolution on Kashmir, but unfortunately the governments, respective governments, not honorable. So we again calling them that they should comply the UN resolution, which actually says to Pakistan and some are asking India.